Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to our webinar on journeys into career and data science in AI that we at the Data Lab organized as part of Skills Development Scotland's Careers Week. My name is Laura Zoch. I will be the facilitator of our webinar today. I am the program manager for professional development at the Data Lab. So I'm in charge of our program of upskilling and reskilling courses that we offer through Data Skills for Work, our online course offering, and then also the leadership training that we do in-house. And I'm joined here today by Lingsay Wong, Sooz Young, and Nikhil Kamarakar, who have agreed to share a little bit about their stories, about their journeys into a career in data science and AI, how they got started, where they are currently, what their recommendations would be. And I hope that will be very useful for you. So we will start with me giving a little bit of background on the Data Lab and on the programs that we run, and that also allowed Sooz, Lingsay, and Nikhil to join our community, so to speak. We will then move on to a little bit of a panel discussion. So we have about 30 minutes to highlight the stories, as I said, and there will then be time for question and answers. So to everyone in the webinar, could you please send your questions in the chat, and we will come back to them later. And then finally, we'll wrap up the session just with a little bit of closing words, I'd say. Okay, let me share my screen to begin with. And tell you a little bit more about Data Lab. Ooh, it's gone. I'm sorry. Okay, there we are, slide 1. So you might know that the Data Lab is Scotland's innovation centre for data science and AI. We've been around for 10 years, so we're currently celebrating our 10-year anniversary this year and this month. So very exciting times. Our purpose is to support the Scottish economy on their way to becoming more digital, to making more data-driven decisions. And we do this through 3 main pillars. So number 1 is community building, and you might all be here as part of a Data Lab community event. So we have our own social platform, which enables people to share knowledge, just share experiences, and discuss current topics in data and AI. There's a range of events that we run. So if you're interested, you will find a QR code at the bottom of this webinar, and you can easily join the community and be part of a network of over 5,000 members globally. Then pillar number 2 is innovation support, where we offer data science capacity. So we run innovation projects that we call collaborative innovation projects, where we have in-house capability to consult and advise industry, for example, but we also can make connections between academia and industry to solve, bigger and smaller, I guess, grand challenges. Finally, and that's my part within the Data Lab, we look after skills and talent. So through different channels, we support the Scottish economy by creating a pipeline of digital and data talent, but also to upskill and reskill people across the nation. Within skills and talent, we have professional development, as I said before, that includes leadership development and training, online learning courses, and the Data Skills for Work program, which is our upskilling and reskilling program. Also, we have the Data Lab Academy. The Data Lab Academy offers scholarships for master's programs that are data and AI related, let's say. On top of the funding for these master's programs, It offers an element of employability training and also master's placements to, well, increase industry experience. The Data Lab Academy has been developed in consultation with government, academia, and business leaders, and it focuses on applying academic knowledge to the world of industry so that students develop the non-technical skills that are essential to becoming a data and AI professional. So that's what I was saying. It adds a layer of employability training and then the placements to just increase your chances and give you an exposure to the real world of data, of a data and AI professional. Within the professional development side of things, of our skills programs, one of our very successful programs is the Data Skills for Work package. Data Skills for Work originally ran within the Edinburgh and South East Scotland city region deal only, but we started to extend that to the Tay Cities regional deal a couple of years ago. The program has been successful in upskilling more than 1,300 individuals and helping them to start a career in data and AI or to return to the workforce and, well, world of work with a data and AI focus. Within Data Skills for Work, we developed a framework to help individuals, businesses, but also educators to identify their skills needs, but also to sort of place themselves in and their level of data literacy. So to understand where to understand your own relationship with data and within your organization or as a customer or user. The basic level are our data citizens. So we all are data citizens because we, I assume, have an awareness of the digital world we live in. So smartphones, tablets, screens, anywhere. So data citizens that would focus on the use or misuse of data, but also data concepts and roles. Then we have the second level, which are data workers. These are people who use basic analysis tool to answer questions about data and AI use, and use this to support decision-making for their organization. So here, data visualization, but also data analytics comes into play at a, let's say, basic level. The third category in the framework are data professionals. So these are people with specialist skills and that use data professionally in their world of work. So they can provide large-scale data infrastructure and analysis, and they can help make organizations data-informed decisions. So here we add an element of communication and data storytelling skills, but also project appraisal, problem solving, and delivery. We have a fourth category, which is slightly odd because it doesn't only refer to technical skills, but rather to people in strategic leadership roles with the ability to assess how an organization can make best use of its data, to know what skills are needed, and to develop and implement a data strategy. So here it's more about data governance, as I said, data strategy, but also managing a data team. Underlying all of this, and I think all data personas would have a certain degree of awareness about data ethics, data protection, and also legislation. So we hope that this framework is useful for you to identify where you currently stand within your data literacy, and maybe also to identify where you would like to end up and how to get on that pathway or journey into a career in data and AI. That was my very brief overview on what we do at the Data Lab and some of our programs. And I will stop sharing my screen now and really welcome our great panelists today, Lingsay, Sooz, and Nikhil, and kick off our panel discussion. So for each of the panelists, can I ask you not more than 1 minute, please, to introduce yourselves, say where you work, what the relevance of the topic is for you, and maybe also to touch on what you'd like the audience to get out of today's event. Lingsay, can I start with you?
Yes, sure. Thank you so much, Laura. So my name is Lingsay Wong. I'm a sustainability strategist and innovator and the founder of my own company, Covalence Future. I was originally trained as an environmental engineer based in oil and gas. So I used to work in Aberdeen. And I've transitioned from non-tech to a tech background. Over the years, I've accumulated more than 15 years of working in diverse industry. So I'd like to say something as well. Last year, I founded a meetup called the Dundee Data Meetup. So if you're ever around in the country, please come around. It's last Tuesday of the month. I'm also one of the Scottish AI Alliance Community Advisory Board. So I think it's for me, this is a really good time for people that want to learn data. There's plenty of support. But one of the key things that I'm really interested is to encourage underrepresented group to be empowered and get out to the community to understand, use data as much as you can. Thank you.
Thank you, Lingsay. Nikhil, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. So hi, I'm Nikhil. I work as a data engineer with Blend. I've been working with them for the last 14 months, learning all about the best practices within data engineering. I'm actually a graduate from the Data Academy. My background comes in from the automobile industry. I've actually done an MSc in marketing and sales, worked in the automobile industry, then done my MSc in data science and started working in the data sphere. I'm originally from India, from a nice place called Goa. That's mainly, in a nutshell, that's all about me.
Super, thank you, Nikhil. Sooz, last but not least.
Hi, Laura. Thank you for having me today. My name's Sooz. I'm the founder of Technology Coaching. We're a digital skills training company based here in Glasgow. We help individuals and businesses thrive by building a complete digital mindset covering 6 essential digital skills: innovation, web presence, social media marketing, cybersecurity, AI and automation, and making decisions with data. Through practical CPD accredited training and consultancy, we empower individuals and businesses to confidently tackle their digital challenges, enhance their online visibility, and drive sustainable growth. So by mastering these core skills, you can streamline your operations and stand out in today's competitive landscape. My background is working through, I started in the technology field at Apple. I then set up technology coaching 7 years ago. We've worked with Google Digital Garage. We've worked with the Data Lab now as a data skills provider. And we partnered with Facebook in 2019 to provide digital skills to 3,000 people across Scotland. So I'm very much empowered about getting people into careers in the technology sphere and helping people understand, as you can see behind me, the complete digital mindset that makes up what we believe people to have those competencies and those skills in those areas to thrive really in the future as well.
Thank you so much. So as we've just seen, you all come from very different backgrounds. So from environmental technologies, applied music to hospitality originally, or transportation. But you share a passion for data and AI, obviously. So how did you first develop an interest in these technologies? Sooz, do you want to go first?
Yeah, thank you. So my passion for tech started with my degree in music. So I specialised in industry and I did all things music and computers, recording and sound production, music and film, music and computers. I was working with Macs at the time. And I absolutely loved how things connected together and how you had to work with the information from one place to be able to make a result on the other place. And from music and creativity, all the way through to how do you understand the information that's coming back to you through the technology to be able to create the output as part of it. And so, long story short, I've went to Japan and taught English out there for 4 years. I was fascinated with the technology out there, and then came back and got a job at Apple as a trainer for Apple, getting to use my skills as a educator, but also understanding music and the creative aspect of using the technology and the Apple products and the Apple world, and then helping individuals and businesses at that stage utilize their technology. And so understanding the essential skills, so working with people, how to communicate effectively with people, how to help people understand how these things all work together. And I mean, that's what now is built into technology coaching's digital mindset, where it's not just one skill that you need, it's all the skills together that complement each other, enable to then communicate effectively about them, to make us work in this kind of digital world. I believe that we live in the physical and the digital world, and it's how are we competent in those worlds. Yes, we've got the technical skills, but how do you communicate effectively about them? So we like to think about enhancing essential skills as well as the technical skills around it. So without going into too much of a long story, that kind of sums it up, Laura.
Thank you so much. Lingsay, how about you? How did you first get in touch with data and AI?
So my story probably is not as exciting as Sooz. So my journey started when I was working as an engineer offshore. As you know, oil and gas is still very traditional. Even in the data sphere, they're still slowly transitioning from a digital paper, if you like, into more proper data structure and structured data. But I think it all comes from the fact that I really want to problem solve. So when I was out and offshore, I have to collect the data manually using it was years ago, obviously, using paper and then paper into Excel and then Excel to, yes, in order to analyze it, I have to do it like quite a lot of physical analysis. So I think with the advancement of technology so far, that really want me to like, utilize this technology and just streamline my process and make it faster. So this is one of the reasons. But I think one of the things that really wants me to go into this industry. So prior to having this as a founder, I was working as a data consultant, but previously there was lots of news about machine learning and AI in terms of like, job application for, large employer have been using AI to filter candidates. Police in the US has been using it to like monitor like streets and stuff like that, but there's so much discrepancy in terms of technology, and there was bias. Well, it was still developing, so there's quite a lot of bias. I was really spurred into understanding, how those kind of data can be biased. And with the LLM, we showed that initial like ChatGPT was showing very biased information. I wanted to know how the data was collected and how we can enhance and use it, and making sure that this kind of information, we are the citizen user of ChatGPT, of large language model, and of data. How do we want to empower ourselves in terms of technology and data to better ourselves in the workplace, in personal life? And not just, if you like, put the power into the hand of just a few individuals that own the technology. So this is one of the reasons why it spurred me to start the Data Meetup. I wanted this discussion of like, how can we make data AI more inclusive and equal? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, super interesting. Thank you for that. Nicole, how about you?
So my journey with data started about, I would say, 5 or 6 years ago when I was working as a performance manager. Basically, my day-to-day task was to receive a lot of data, make sure it's accurate, analyze well, identify performance trends, and then help my team to actually identify how they can achieve their goals and KPIs. So I started the other way around, where I seen how powerful data is and then moved into upskilling myself. Fortunately, I got introduced to the Data LM Academy, where I started honing on my skills. And I would say the sky's the limit now, and definitely learning exciting things every day. That's my journey.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Maybe, to add my personal perspective here as well, although I'm more the facilitator, but so I decided to study business and economics in the first place, but with the idea of maybe moving into event management. So clearly I hadn't done my research and was found myself all of a sudden in a very technical course that was all about maths and statistics and all of that. But I started to enjoy it because I think reading the news and all of that, becoming more interested, growing up, I had this feeling of, okay, basically anecdotal evidence is all good, but I'd like to be able to understand where this is all coming from, and do I see a structural problem? And throughout my studies, I became very interested in the fields of poverty, for example, so more the field of development economics, and then started working in research originally, where I supported a huge research project in Southern Africa, and was lucky enough to then get specialist econometrics training and all of that. So again, very data focused. I developed and ran surveys as a consequence of that, analyzed the data and all of that. And although I then decided to abandon a career in research, let's say, or to, move into professional services instead, I'm really grateful for the knowledge that I've accumulated along the way. I don't use it daily in my professional life, but having the ability to understand what, even the news are telling you when they're using data, when they're referring to statistics, or then do evaluation of courses, running smaller projects, I think has been enormously beneficial just in understanding the world around me. And particularly with now the explosion of all of these AI technologies, just to be able to understand and evaluate what's actually going on. Yeah, so that would be me. And I think I wanted to ask you, looking at our framework, where do you think where would you place yourself on that framework? So your level of data skills that you have in your current job. So what data persona do you mostly identify with? So for me personally, I would probably opt for data worker, because as I said, I mean, I have more specialist training and all of that, but I don't use it all of the time in my professional work life. How about you guys?
I
Sooz,
can go first. Oh, sorry.
Sure. No, Lingsay, go ahead.
I think for me, it's not clear cut because I'm a founder, so multitasking, lots of different hats. I can go from data citizen to data professional to data leader, but I would say that at the moment, because I'm developing my prototype at the moment, so it's between data worker and data professional. So I do some sort of machine learning with algorithm, but I use analysis too as well. Moving forward, I might change and to be a more data leader. So that's my perspective.
Yeah, and I think that's such an interesting perspective as well, because we're not bound to just one of the levels. We might, as you say, cover more than them, and also change over time as we start making more data-driven decisions, for example, or found our own business or so. Sooz, where do you see yourself on the framework?
Yeah, exactly the same as a founder here. There's no individual category that I would fall within. You have to understand the data to be able to make the decisions from it. So data almost has to be the first thing that you're looking at before you then can make any decisions on any of the other hats that you need to make decisions on as a business owner. And so at the moment, I can't choose one. It's a mixture of them all, depending on the task at hand, if that makes sense. So I would always just recommend to any individual, no matter what career stage that they're at, is to always look at the data to start off with. So what does that mean? Look at the understanding of the roles that they are looking for, looking at the description of the courses that they're applying for. What do they fit? How can they meet? What skills are they attracted to, or they align with when they're looking at these things? So we're all data citizens, and you will always continue to be data citizens. It's just what approach do you want to take in your career journey? But as a founder, you tend to wear all those hats at different times.
Definitely. Very exciting times. Nikhil, how about you?
I actually would totally agree with Lingsay and Sooz on what they've highlighted. I would say that I started off as a data worker, but I sit between a data worker and a data professional. Because currently, for the last 14 months working with Blend, I've been working on projects building like scalable infrastructures on various cloud platforms. And that's given me the exposure to actually understand what kind of use cases are available out there and how to find those optimal solutions.
Yeah, amazing. And I think that's also the intent behind the framework, to show that there's potentially a journey or pathways as well. And that that might change over the span of your career, let's say. But a career in data and AI, now focusing on the journey, might seem too broad a term maybe to understand, because it's a very broad field. And as we've just touched on, even within our daily working lives, we might change from making data-driven decisions, maybe analyzing data, maybe not doing anything with data at all, and merely working with a computer, so living in the digital world more than data and AI. So how and where did you start your careers then? And what tips would you give someone interested in doing the same? Nick, do you want to kick off?
Yeah, sure. So I'm pretty new to this industry. It's been 14 months. But I would say when you come into this industry, you don't just come with the initial experience. You take the baggage of your experience that you had in the past, and let it be in data science, data engineering, AI, machine learning. At the end of the day, you should remember that the experiences you've had in the past will all be transferable, and this can be used within your current role. And I would say this has been very helpful for me because a lot of situations that I face, being in working with clients in different kind of sectors, I can always relate them to certain situations that I've had in the past, not within data, of course. And shockingly, a lot of the solutions actually are you can find with what you already experienced in the past, or what other people around you have experienced and what you learn from. There's something that I really follow from day one is rather than reinventing the wheel, use the resources around you. And that's what I would like to highlight here on this one.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing tip, and absolutely transferable skills are something that we sometimes neglect, or we don't even validate in some ways, but we all have them because we've been involved in many, many things, not just in our work life, that might touch on our private lives as well, and the skills that we've acquired there. So that's all highly valuable, and I think very good to sit down and have a look and reflect on. Sooz, what do you think?
I completely agree with what Nicole said there, because I like to call that skill stacking. So it's all about what are the accumulative skills that you've gained throughout any journey that you've been on in any career, any industry, any lifestyle factor. Because when you think about the first thing that you would normally do when you approach any piece of technology, you would normally go to search something, right? You normally go to find out some information. What we don't realize is that we're actually utilizing data at that stage to then make a decision from that data. And again, this works with your essential skills that you need. Then how do you utilize that problem solving aspect? How do you then look into what are the technical tools that you need to be able to do that? So again, the essential and the technical skills build up over to then make sure that you've got a list of the things that you're capable of doing when you start to look for different kind of careers that you're interested in. But yeah, for me, it is very much the technology that started my interest in the different types of understanding data and how it works. So how the tools work, what results can I get from those tools, and then what decisions can I make from them.
And what would your recommendation be? Where would you guide someone who wants to start a career in data and AI?
Start by gaining some skills around specific understanding about how to look at different types of data. So what are the different data types? What tools that you can use to be able to understand those data types? Generally, in any type of company, people throw an Excel spreadsheet at most people. But there's other tools out there to be able to help you understand what data is. But a lot of that comes from what are the outputs, what are the outcomes that people want to have. So if you look at it from a problem solving point of view, but again, yeah, gain some courses. The Data Labs have got a great resource of resources of courses that you can attend to be able to upskill on your data journey.
Lingsay, so where did you start your career in data and AI? I mean, you touched on it already in the oil and gas industry, but in particular, what tips would you give our audience today on how to start their own careers?
I guess in two tips. And so obviously, I've been using data throughout my career, as most people do. I think the tipping point was that when I was a business management officer for Sterling Council, if anyone is studying how's a high, I'm not trying to say anything bad. It's just that I was doing mainly a lot of process, understanding process. And that's where I understand that, you know, how the data is the one that is like, you know, we are actually human that is collecting the data, and the interaction of human and technology. I think this is one critical point that I want to point out, is like, I completely agree what Nikhil and Sooz said as well. But for me, is that we are, the human interaction is very important in the data collection point. This is what I'm trying to say here. So where to start is that I would say one of the reasons why I do the data, you know, I'm not trying to promote it, but yes, is to come and network. So the data lab obviously have lots of events in the Central Belt. We are doing it in Dundee, but there's in the Highlands and everywhere in Scotland, there's plenty. Come and network. They are usually free. And just ask questions with usually this kind of event is full of people of mixture of background. Come and just talk to us and see what find your interest. We have people from different background that come to talk to us. We have artists, we have photographer to archaeologists. I think it's just to get the diversity in that. But another tip is that there's plenty of courses out there that can help you start it. So one of the things that I want to add on what Sooz says is in order to build your foundation, understanding data management lifecycle is very important, because that is when you fill up the form and you understand the form, where the form, like, you know, everyone fill up form every single day, even from the beginning initially. That's where data is collected and how data is analyzed and then output the report. I think the fundamental, if you understand that, then you will know that designing software into a better user interface and better data collection is probably more helpful in the down the line, and for company to use data and AI in the future. So that's my 2 tips.
Super, and I think that community aspect is so important, because I mean, obviously there's some things that you need to do individually, and you've all touched on that. So learning the technical skills, but then also understanding what other skills are required. And I think seeing a community and having a network of like-minded people will then add on top, you know, knowledge around where to go, because as you say, the landscape, even across Scotland, is very rich. So there's a lot of offerings out there. It's more to identify the correct one for your level, I think, that you're at, and then going on the right course. I think that's something that we would always emphasize from Data Lab side as well. And also within the networks and communities, maybe it's also good then to deal with sort of the opportunities, but also challenges that a career in data and AI might pose. And as we can see from all of us here in the room today, a career in data and AI can have many, many faces. So it can go from teaching to, you know, actually analyze it, being a data analyst, a data engineer, a software developer. There's a geospatial engineer, there's cloud engineers. I mean, AI adds a whole new level to all of that as well. So I think it is a very interesting world to be part of. What would you think are the main benefits for a career in data and AI for anyone pondering around with maybe going on, you know, a program or so? Sooz, what do you think?
I think it's very exciting, because we're at the kind of coming to the peak of where AI is taking that curve of where it's going to be implemented across everywhere. And so with that, it needs to have good data. It needs to have ethical data, unbiased data. And to have that, it needs to be fed the right information. So from whatever business that you join, and I think, again, just relating back to the last question, it is, what type of business do you want to work for? So there's the ethical considerations as part of that as well. How are they handling their data? What is the compliance aspect that they have around how do they manage and handle their data? Do they have policies in place? Are they data compliant? And even from a small business level, this is what a lot of small businesses and startups have challenges with as well. How are they handling the data? What decisions are they making from it? And how does that impact their journey as well? So no matter what stage you're at and what business that you're going to join, it's what is those ethical and unbiased options that are being results with the data that are there. Because I talk about this in Scotland. We're still not highly visually represented in the online space. So we still don't have as big an online community and space as some of other bigger countries in the world, even as the UK as a whole. Scotland still doesn't have as much information out there. So when we're adding this data to an AI tool to be able to understand that data, is it the right information? Is it ethically talking about what Scotland results and believes in, and all those aspects that make up what is data compliance? So you've really got to break it down into what is the information that's being fed. Is that information correct? Is it ethical? Is it legal? Is it compliant? Is it biased? Is it not? And so there's a full concept as part of that as well. And I know that the others can kind of piggyback off of that as well. I know, Lingsay, you have a real focus on that too, don't you? Unbiased. Yeah.
Lingsay, what do you think about opportunities and challenges also in the data and AI world?
Opportunity is definitely for me as anyone advances their career. I think being able to be confidently use your data and ask questions about your data, I think this is very powerful. So for me, I can, because of all the skills I've been gaining, I am confident to like scrutinize some data, even up until like, using large language model like ChatGPT. I think one of the key skills everyone is saying is like, critical thinking. Even AI tool has been very good in helping you write generic report, brainstorming and all that. But I think ultimately you have to know where the data come from. Ethically using it, like Sooz says, understanding how you can use the data and then what are you going to use the data for. So absolutely, this is one of the benefits. In terms of challenges, I think one of the biggest challenges we're facing so far is that I want to say out here, so I'm actually attending a conference in Lisbon. So we are moving from the internet era into the AI era, as some people agree or disagree. So the internet era has been putting a lot of information into the internet, connecting people around, putting information out there. Whereas the AI era is, you're consolidating the information and synthesizing the information. You still be able to put the information out on the internet, but combined with AI tools as well as using that information to do predictive analysis as well. So I think it's a really exciting time, but the challenges is that there's so much thing to learn and to keep up. I think you have to have that kind of growth mindset, but also confident in yourself, in your skills, your core skills, like we mentioned before, transferable skills, soft skill, critical thinking skill. Those are really critically important, as well as we have to remember we are human, we are interacting with human. I think the human touch is very critical as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Nikhil, what do you think about opportunities and challenges?
So talking about opportunities, which will link into the benefits also, for somebody especially moving into a role in data, a fresh role in data as such, I think would be something with personal experience, I would say, is the opportunity where you can actually explore different avenues. So if you're moving into data science or data engineering or AI, doesn't mean that you're going to just work on one thing. You can eventually realize that your strengths lie in prompt engineering or in ETL pipelining or CI/CD. So it totally depends. And I will link into what Lingsay said, the mindset and the core skills and the confidence to have those that you should have on your core skills is optimal as such. Talking about the challenges, I would say, again, it will link into a benefit and opportunity also. But one of the challenge I would say for some people would be, as it's a fast changing environment within technology, being up to speed and keep on top of it is most important with these different cloud platforms and resources that are available and fast changing and developing. But if you have the passion and the right mindset towards it, you'll definitely not feel that that's a challenge.
Definitely. Thank you so much. And I think, in terms of, benefits for me personally, working in data and AI is obviously the collaborative work culture, I think, that we all benefit from, and also the flexibility around working. So, working with data and AI and computers mostly, enables us to work remotely, for example, or in a hybrid way, or all of that. So that to me would be an additional layer. But yes, there's obviously the challenge or also opportunity of lifelong learning, of keeping on top of, as we heard, ethical considerations, regulatory compliance, and all that, how to use the technology safely and how to correctly interpret the results as well that we get. Because I think, touching back on the ethics, we make so many ethical choices along the way we speak with a Gen AI system, for example, or the way that we interrogate data. And it's having that awareness and appropriate skills level also for where we are in the career, I think, and the position, that is absolutely crucial. Thank you so much for giving us that input. So I have a few more questions, but let's maybe take one from the audience, because that's what we're here for. So if our listeners have any more questions, please pop them in the chat. But I think this one is a really good one. Alexander asked that one. How do you keep up with the rapid developments in the field? Do you target a specific niche or try to remain open to all emerging research? What do you think?
I have a few email lists that I've got, and I get about 15 to 20 emails a day from people that are accumulating all of the information around the latest release of data and AI and cloud infrastructure. It's important to not feel overwhelmed by all this information that's coming in. Data can feel overwhelming. But what it is pulling out the key parts that are relevant to what it is that I'm doing specifically in that role that I'm taking on in that day. As I explained, there's multiple different data hats that you're wearing. So making sure that I'm utilizing that data effectively, understanding it, and then applying it in the right way. So there are tons of places out there online. You can simply ask the AI now to be able to give you those places to be able to get the most up to date. I tend to ask the AI quite a lot as well. If I'm talking about generative AI, it generally will tell me the updates that it's got for that day. From a teaching point of view, it does change consistently and continuously. So consume yourself with information. If you're passionate about it, find out that information. Sign up to email lists on your social platforms if you spend your time on those. Follow Evolving AI is a great account to find out what's happening in the world of AI and data. And just be consumed. Consume the information that you want to then have a career in. It's what you're passionate about. Consume it, find that information. But yeah, generally ask the AI is what I would tend to do as well.
Nikhil, what do you think? How do you keep up with the rapid developments in the field?
I would say the first thing is join some good communities, like the Data Lab community, actually, because there's a lot of information that comes out from there to understand what's new. People share a lot of their experiences with different technologies and platforms. Something that I actually did is when I was moving into data to find like good roles and jobs, I actually built a portfolio and I used some open source technologies out there to actually build small projects. So for a student who's a master's student and they don't have the right resources, there are a lot of open source platforms available out there. So just start getting some practical experience. Take it one step at a time. You're not going to learn everything. You can spend 50 years in data and you're not going to learn everything. So take it one step at a time, master one technology at a time, and move forward.
How about you, Lingsay?
Absolutely agree to both what Sooz and Nikhil was saying. There's plenty of resources, and some are more technology based, some are more industrial based. I think you have to find what is really your interest. If you're interested in really deep technology, universities are really good sources. I want to particularly point out to like deeplearning.ai, the Stanford University base as well. There's quite a lot of tools and knowledge are free as well. But like what Nikhil was saying, join a community, speak to actually a profession, and you will know what the data scientists actually do, what the analysts actually do, what the data engineer actually do. I knew this to speaking to all these people, and the role might be different according to their company, but you will get a sense of what they do. And maybe you say, oh, I don't really like coding at all. It's fine. You don't have to do coding if you want to just be a data citizen or data leader. You don't have to learn coding, but obviously understand the principle is very good. So yeah, join a community, reach out to a professional, speak to them, and use all the online resources and trustworthy resources to enhance your understanding and your skills.
Yeah, touching on skills and experience, and I think a few of the questions in the chat now touch on skills as well, and how to find that combination of skills, that digital mindset, I suppose, that Sooz has touched on for a little bit. What do you think? How much can you learn from academia, or is data and AI more a training on the job kind of thing, and then you will also see what specifically you need, what kind of upskilling needs you have, and what your individual continuing learning cycles sort of looks like? Or is it really something set in stone? Lingsay, what do you think?
I think it depends on the domain that you're trying to learn. So I think university and academia is really good in providing you the foundation knowledge and domain knowledge. I wouldn't discount that at all. Like, for example, understanding math, algorithm, statistics, really hard to say this word, your core computer science skills, your machine learning algorithm. I think this is a very good place, and deep diving into how to apply those algorithm, develop a more advanced algorithm into specific domain doing research. So one of the meetup that we have been interviewing one of the unicorn company using AI for healthcare. So that was started off in a university setting and a spin out, and then they become a multi-billion-dollar company based in Dundee. So yeah, I think it depends on the domain, on the subject itself. But as we touched upon before, there's the tools and knowledge is emerging all the time. So I think at the moment is the balance of between academia and real industrial understanding or real industrial experience is changing. So obviously, traditionally, you have to have a degree and then be able to do a really good job in data. But I think the balance is changing a little bit. Again, I'm not discounting academia. I just think that there's a lot of avenue to go into data and AI, especially, like I said, emerging tools. Like the tools nowadays, people are building tools on top of tools, making it easier for people to use. I'm sure Sooz will know that it's like no-code tools, for example, allowing you to analyze data easier without coding as well. So I think keeping up with industry experience, understanding, I think one thing I want to drive home is that understanding the problem you're trying to solve. If you were in industry, you know that specific problem, and you know what is the problem that is causing the main problem that you're having. For example, is it a technology problem? Is it a data problem? Or is it a human problem? I think understanding what problem you're trying to solve, I think getting balance of both between academic and industry is depending on your experience, domain, and what you want to learn.
Amazing, thank you. And there's been a question from Jennifer at the University of the West of Scotland's Career Service about acquiring, I guess, more sector-specific data and AI skills as well, but also breaking down barriers to, thinking that data and AI skills are really only applicable to the tech world. And I think all of us have shown, hopefully, over the course of the last 45 minutes, that that's not the case, that data and AI skills to a certain degree will be required in most industries probably at this point. But besides, I think, and we touched on that, joining a community, for example, doing a placement, for example, to have this real world exposure to what do specific industries require, but also specific roles within these industries. Do you have any other suggestions on how to break down these barriers of sort of silo thinking around data and AI? Nikhil, you want to come in?
Yeah, I would like to jump in on this one. One way would be to actually go for events. This definitely breaks the ice and understanding what is going on within the industry at the moment, and what kind of skills are really required. And something that's already touched upon by Sooz and Lingsay, to understand and be in touch with what's going on within the industry and what data engineers, data scientists, and machine learning professionals are actually doing on a day-to-day basis is the best way to understand where you need to kind of build on your skill set, I would say.
Perfect. Sooz or Lingsay, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I was going to suggest, again, just from what Nicole said there, attend events and join the communities in that way. Remember, we've got 4 different types of data citizens here, data personas here. And so if you go to, for example, the Third Sector Lab, digital trustee events, for example, these are charities, third sector businesses that are looking for technician or technical support from people in the technical industry to join their boards, to give them a help and an understanding of how to implement digital in some sort of way. And then you've got people that are working in shops, for example. How can they utilize the experience or the customers that are coming in the door to be able to make better decisions so they can sell more products or make better products for them? It's not just about having the technical knowledge, as Lingsay addressed there. The no coding tools are out there. We're starting to see, even last week, OpenAI announced that actually in a few years' time, the AI is going to be writing all the code for us. There will be not really that much need for the coding. I'm not quite sure on that, but we'll see how that goes. So there's not, again, we've got to think about it as a whole picture. It's not just one skill, one tool, one framework that you follow. It's the bigger picture. It's the essential skills that you need, those problem solving skills, those communication skills, that attention to detail, that focusing. Those are the innate skills that help you when it comes to either technical or non-technical roles in data and AI or other technical industries as well. So when you're talking to your young people in the UWS, and for anyone else that's maybe thinking about other careers, I can see some of the questions that are coming in there. The skill stacking that we've talked about is super important, because it's understanding what results that you want to have to then what you can use to be able to get you to those results.
Absolutely. I wanted to pick up on that question around data ethics as well, because I think that is an interesting one, in particular in the UK at the moment. So the question is basically who makes the ethical policies basically on data compliance? Is that at a national level or a consortium? So, I mean, we are all bound, when it comes to data privacy, for example, to GDPR, so the General Data Regulation Protection Act. The EU has passed an AI Act last year. In the UK, we're not at that stage yet, but I would say, so yes, there are certainly policies from a national level normally, or even above that, so EU level. But then, I mean, ethical decisions about data start at an individual level. I think they should be ingrained in any type of training that you receive around data handling as well, data management, data analysis, and they are an integral part of any statistical training that you will go on, all of the technical training. But is there something else that we can think of? So where does data ethics begin, let's say? And what do we think is the future here, particularly thinking about AI as well? Lingsay, you want to come in?
Yeah, I'll quickly jump into that. I think one of the easiest thing is data collection. So depending on your job, you will always collect data. So you have to understand the data you collected. I just give an example. If your customer is a very specific customer base, then you can use the data to tailor your service to the specific customer. But if you want to use the specific customer database data to do something else, that might not be ethical. Firstly, because it might make you create an uninformed decision, because your sample size is not intended for other use cases, if you like. So I think ethically, you have to start from data you collected and then the use case you're going to use. If you understand this, you probably have a better idea of, why is it showing this kind of result rather than that result that you intended. So that's what I'm feeling.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for coming in on that. So we're approaching the end of our 1 hour session here. Unfortunately, I see a few more questions. I think we've touched on a few of them already. So kickstarting your career at the moment in one sentence, what's your top tip, all three of you? Sooz, you want to start with your one top tip?
One top tip, sorry, it just jumped out there a little bit, or I think it was
Of
on
course.
my end. So one top tip for a career in data and AI, is that
For
the question?
kickstarting your career. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, so a lot of it comes with how do you want your day to work, right? How do you want to have your day to day? Do you want to be sitting at a computer, technically writing code, understanding, problem solving, looking at that area? Or do you want to be visually representing, looking at the data and visual reports? Do you want to be communicating about that data in some sort of way? Do you want to understand the problems of the users? Do you want, so think about what you want to do, how you want to have your day-to-day role, and then find out what are the key attributes to what those roles are. And again, within the data lab and the data lab community, there's a lot of kind of outlines of what each one of those careers are. Find them, how they connect with your skills, what your past experience is as well, and then match them up in that way. Skills Development Scotland do quite a lot of work on this as well. You can have a look at their resources too. And chat to people, join communities, have conversations. As we've heard from both Nicole and Lingsay here, it depends on the company that you're working for, what those roles will be entailed. So you might need to try out different things as well, but work with third sector companies as well. Help them understand their data so that they can make better decisions. And it's not just about the big technical, it's all areas. We're all digital and data citizens in that way.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I don't think I have time to come to you, Lingsay and Nicole, but coming back to the questions in the chat, please reach out to us. I mean, become part of the Data Lab community. I wanted to say, how can the Data Lab support you? So we've just started our new round of the Data Lab Academy for this year. So the new round of master's programs and scholarships. But there's a few more that we'll take on board from January. So definitely keep an eye out if that is something that interests you. I would say, yeah. And as we've heard over and over again, you know, become part of the community, talk to people, reach out. I think that's the best place to start and the best place to continue on your journey as well, and to support you and yeah, get ideas. Please reach out to us on LinkedIn. I think that will be the easiest way to reach all of us. We're all there. You can all connect with us. Last words from my side. Thank you so much, Lingsay, Sooz, and Nicole, for joining me today. That was a really, really informative session. I enjoyed that a lot, and I hope it was helpful for our audience. Also, thank you so much for Skills Development Scotland for organizing Careers Week. I think that is such an important initiative. And as we've heard as well, and know, Skills Development Scotland have a range of offers as well. They have many careers advisors. They have My World of Work, for example, that can advise younger people to start their career, to think about a career in data and AI. So definitely make sure to check out their offerings as well. There's a lot out there. If in any doubt, just ask your Gen AI tool of choice, as Sooz has alluded to. Thank you all so much for being here with me today. And yeah, I hope to see you all soon.
Perfect.
you.
Thank you for hosting this.
Thanks for having us.